Hey guys, welcome back to another flight simulator video with me, Absolute Nath. Today we are going to be flying an airliner route. As you can see, it's EasyJet there on the screen, and we're going to go from Manchester Airport, my local airport, all the way to Malaga, because I fancy a holiday. We're been in lockdown for over 12 months, so we'll go through all the startup procedure of the aircraft, because it's totally off and dead, as if it's been parked up. So we'll jump in the cockpit, have a look at our charts of where we're going. We'll import our flight plan from SimBrief, and we shall get going. So I'll explain more on the way. Let's go. Right then, so we're in the flight deck, and the plane is totally off. We need to do some checks before we turn the systems of the aircraft on, and then we can talk to ATC. We can get our passengers loaded, get the bags on, etc., etc. So we'll go through a few steps. Okay, checks completed, and it's time to turn the batteries on. So 1 and 2. After that, we can tune our radio to Manchester ground, and we can request a power supply.
Manchester ground absolute 112 tree, could you please send a ground power unit? Absolute
See there,
112 tree, a ground power unit is on the road.
a little van there backing up to connect us. There we go. So as you can see, the wires connected to the aircraft, so we can go back into the cockpit and we can turn on external power. Listen to all the clicks and watch as the instruments come alive. We can turn up brightness. These. There we go. So as you can see there, we've got no GPS, or our map is not available to us because the aircraft doesn't know where it is. It's like literally just woken up. So once there's some stuff that I'm glossing over here. If you were a real pilot, you'd be checking more things. But I know the GPS units on the aircraft take a few minutes to calibrate themselves, so I'm going to turn them on up here. So it's this IR system. So we're going to turn the left one on to nav, right one on, and then the center one, which I believe is the backup one. So let's turn all them on, and then that should start the alignment process. Okay, as you can see, we're actually on the condition page of the lower ECAM display, and I've set the air conditioning temperature to 21 degrees, because 23 degrees on a day like today in a cockpit is probably a bit of a greenhouse. So you can use these controls here to turn the temperature down for each section. So you've got the what looks like cockpit section, which is obviously where we are, flight deck, forward section, and the aft section. There we go. So we've got 20 degrees for us, 21 for the passengers. Next up is to turn our APU on so we can generate our own power. So do that by turning on the master switch for the APU. Perhaps I might switch to a different view for that one. So we can go overhead lower. There we go. So that APU master switch gives us this menu to look at on the ECAM. So as you can see that it says flap open, so that means we're ready to start the APU. All sorts of lighting checks and whatnot. We'll turn the strobe lights on, turn our beacon on, and then when we're ready to taxi, we'll turn our taxi light on. For the sake of it, we'll turn our seat belts on and the no smoking lights on also. Arm the emergency exit lights. And then see here our APU is in the starting phase. So that's the temperature of the exhaust gas coming out the APU, which is like basically in the tail of the aircraft. There's a small tiny jet engine in here which creates its own power. You can see there the APU.
8 now says available. And then see here our APU is in the starting phase. So that's the temperature of the exhaust gas coming out the APU, which is like basically in the tail of the aircraft. There's a small tiny jet engine in here which creates its own power. You can see there the APU now says available.
then we need to turn the APU bleed on. You can see there, bleed is at 35 psi. Then we can go to our bleed air page on the eCam. And there we go. So the APU's bleed air is coming out, going to either pack. So you can see there the IR's in alignment. We've got 6 minutes left until our GPS calibrates itself. And then now we've got APU. We can turn on APU generator, turn off external power, and then we can tell ground services that we don't want their power anymore.
Manchester ground absolute 112 tree, I am done with power.
Okay, so what I did there was I turned on the traffic collision avoidance system, TCAS, which is done by using this little knob here. As you can see there, when we turn the traffic avoidance to standby, it says TCAS standby. We turn it off here, I'll turn it back on here, sorry. There we go. So we've still got 2 minutes till our GPS is aligned. No seatbelts and smoking sign is on. Heart brake's on, that's correct. And APU bleed is on, obviously, because we need the APU to start the engines. So we can say, while that's happening, we need to load in our flight plan from SimBrief. So for this one, we need to go to the ATSU data link. And I believe on the real aircraft, this is like where the airline sends information to each plane. AOC menu. We need to initialize the data. Initialize data request. And there it's loaded our flight in because I've already planned it in using SimBrief. So we're going from EGCC, which is Manchester, to Malaga, LEMG. Estimated time 2 hours 33 minutes. So our flight number there as well, EZY 1884. Let's go to the next page. And there we go. Our GPS is just aligned because it just clicked over to primary, which is great. Block time 301, blah blah blah. So we'll need to calculate the takeoff speed, etc. for our plane. Plan mode time being, because there's nothing in our flight plan. So to do that, go back, MCDU, go to the flight management guidance computer, I think it stands for. Initialize request, which will pull in data from the other system. It's loading in there. You can see we've got alignment and GPSs now, again, like I said. And then it says, yeah, flight plan uplink, which is brilliant. So we need to fill in these boxes here for the aircraft to calculate what our fuel's going to be when we land and when we take off. So it needs to know like the speed of which to calculate V1, VR and V2 at, etc. So if we go to 0 fuel weight on our flight plan, so we need to go to estimating 61.0 slash 10.2. There we go. And then if we go to the gross weight, you can see it's calculated in the aircraft. Flight plan, as you can see, is loaded in now. So you can scroll up and down using the display. We're flying straight south. It populates the airways already for us, etc., which is really good. We're only flying at about 23,000 feet. There we go. That's good. So we've got a departure. We need to select runway. Which runway are we clearing off? 23 right we're going. We need to put runway 23 right. And then have we got an ECID, which is our departure waypoint? Go Samba. Samba 1 right? Yes. Samba 1 right. So if we pop that in, that should take us on a nice curve. There we go. So I've just erased it. I'm looking at the charts and I don't think it's needed for the route we're going today. So, but ATC will obviously advise us if we need to take one, and then we can just update the flight plan, which we'll do now actually. If we go back to clearance, I want to file the flight plan to air traffic control.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 IFR to Malaga, ready to copy. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 is cleared to Malaga Airport as filed. Take off runway 23 left climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure frequency is 118.775 squawk tree 661.
There we go. So they've told us to take off runway 23 left instead.
Airport as filed. Take off runway 23 left climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure on 118.775 squawk tree 661. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 read back correct. Contact ground on 121.855.
So we'll get the baggage connected.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, could you please send the baggage? Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 baggage is on the way.
Then after that we'll get jetway connected.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft? Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, the jetway is going to be connected. Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, could you please send the catering truck? Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, the catering truck is on the road.
While everyone's been loaded in, we shall continue with our initialization. So we'll need to go to performance now to calculate the speeds that we need to rotate and etc. So that it's just basically so the plane knows what speed it should be doing by the time it's barreling down the runway. So we're going to go with flaps 1 today. Flex the temperature, we're going to go with 60 degrees. So that's basically like if there's a performance sort of coefficient in different air temperatures. So now the aircraft knows that. I'm going to calculate 1, rotate, B2, we'll put them in there. Any more pages? Oh yeah, we also need to do init B. Our block fuel, which we need to put in, is, I'm sure it was 10.2 or something like that. Climb, it's filled out all the information for us. Cruise. 10. Approach. So we'll fill in the information, so the pressure and temperature at the destination, including the wind speed, etc. when we get the information from ATC when we contact approach. For the time being, our baggage is in, the food's in, passengers seem to be in, so we'll go all the cabin crew, turn on our fuel pumps, put our nose lights to taxi, our runway lights on. Obviously in real life you'll make sure like your recorders on, stuff like that. Put that in arc mode. So please disconnect the jetway.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
Arm our ground spoilers. And do a flight control check while we're here. So we need to go to flight control and let's use controller. Check. We'll go to our engines page now. Make sure the jetway is disconnected. we can start the engine procedure. So we always start with engine 2. Then go to mode start. You can see there as it starts up. Drain away. We can enjoy the noise. There we go, so it's just come up. Park brakes on, the hydraulic power takeoff is now available, so we've got hydraulic power, which means we can control the nose wheel, the flaps properly, etc. That seems good. So, one engine started, and because we're an airline, we need to save as much fuel as we can. So we're going to request a taxi. So we're now ready.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 with Mike ready to taxi IFR. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 taxi to and hold short of runway 23 left via taxiway November Charlie Echo Quebec Pop and cross runway 23 right Delta Zulu Tango. Contact tower on 119.405 when ready. Taxiing hold short runway 23 left using taxiway November Charlie Echo Quebec Papa cross runway 23 right Delta Zulu Tango Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884.
Brilliant. Got taxi clearance. So ground services, request pushback.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 requesting pushback.
There we go. So
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 pushback request accepted.
So just before the truck connects, I'll disconnect the parking brake. Then we'll make sure our iPad's loading. Back. So our flight info is now on the iPod. I'm going to make him steer to the left.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee
As I'm doing that,
1884 requesting
let's start
pushback
up engine
to
2.
steer the aircraft to the left. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Pushback.
Manchester ground, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 requesting the end of pushback. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884
Parking brakes on.
Pushback received.
Make sure the anti-ice is on. We don't need it. Don't need the APU anymore. Switch that off. Turn off the APU bleed. Both engines are looking good. So we'll go to mode select and normal. And we can carry on with the taxi. So, parking brake off, bit of thrust,
Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, hold position, caution, other traffic.
I think that message come
Absolute Echo Zulu
bit
Yankee
too late.
1884, continue taxi.
I think I need to download the Manchester scenery package. Tell me to hold position again. He's living life on the wild side.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, hold position, caution, other traffic. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, continue taxi.
Now who's going to hold position? Is it the guy on the right? Or is it going to be me? It's going straight over, so that's okay. Now ideally, I wouldn't enter the runway. I would stop here and wait for ATC to give me clearance, because it's an active runway and you have to have clearance before you go over it. So do a check either side, make sure that it's clear, then we'll cross. Do the crew departure landing as they're doing the video. Before we get to the runway here, we will stop. Our parking brake on. Tune into Manchester Tower. Request takeoff clearance.
Manchester Tower, absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 at runway 23 left, ready for takeoff IFR to Malaga. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 cleared for takeoff runway 23 left.
Takeoff. So before that, we need to go to auto brake flaps takeoff, which is flap 1. Cabin is ready. Parking brakes on, that's okay. Spoilers are armed. We'll test our takeoff configuration, which is normal.
Absolute Echo
Great.
Zulu Yankee 1884, did you hear my last transmission?
Acknowledge.
Cleared for takeoff runway 23 left, absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884.
There we go. Taxi into the runway. Proper signs. Because we've got the arrows, apparently that means we can enter the runway at any point, and we can start the takeoff at any point where the arrows are. But I don't think Flight Simulator recognises that. To enter the runway, do I need to come to a stop again? So let's hold it on the toe brakes. Go to half throttle. Release brakes. Go to let's. Hard to do on a pad. So that's 100 knots, 110, 120, P1, rotate. Positive climb, gear up.
Going to 118.775 absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 188.
The lever to climb. Engage autopilot. Next instructions. We're above the blue S, so we need to retract the flaps.
Emirates 162 traffic in sight.
Manchester.
Manchester Center, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 is climbing through 4,300 feet for 10,000 feet.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 Manchester Center, continue to custom as planned. QNH 30.33.
Show what autopilot's doing. QNH 3033. Set the QNH to 33. Autopilot being really rubbish again. These are the bugs you see that annoy me. You need to be following that green line. And the flight director. The aircraft just seems to be doing its own thing. There we go, turn the autopilot back on. Start to follow it again. Try autopilot 2. Turn, disarm ground spoilers, turn our strobe light. I thought I'd put that on before, but never mind.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, climb and maintain 16,000 feet.
Maintain 16,000.
Climb and maintain 16,000 feet absolute Echo Zulu Yankee
There you go,
188.
autopilot's decided to work again, so I'm not controlling the plane manually anymore. See that it's targeting 16,000, which is great. There we go. So that is us taken off, departed, and we're above 10,000 feet, so it's time for standard pressure. Have a look up there. See that? Liverpool's there. That's the Mersey. Manchester Airport somewhere over there. This looks like the M6 motorway. That looks like the River Dee, perhaps. Cheshire. The autopilot doesn't seem to be cooperating anymore. There you go, it's working again now. I think it's this controller is too sensitive. That's like, yeah, very nice. There we go, guys. So I'll see you when we're back on the descent. Okay, quick update as to where we are. We are currently sort of adjacent to the Isle of Jersey, and we're coming in along the sort of northwestern coast of France here. So if you can have a quick look at the aircraft. There it is. So we're just going over the channel, and we're en route. So we've got about 12.5 miles to our next waypoint, Titub, and then we're just going to keep heading southbound over France. Let's see how far we've got. 744 miles left. And this handy little iPad that they've just added in has a performance tab, so you set your target altitude and the altitude you're at now, or it'll pull it in from the sim. Your glide slope wants to be 3 degrees, so I need to, when that is 111 miles, that is when I need to start my descent down to Malaga. So I wanted to show off another cool little feature here. I've had a message on the upper eCam saying company message, because I sent a request for weather. So to go to that, I press the MCDE menu, ATSU, AOC, receive messages, and then I can go to the latest one, which is that one, back to the first one, and if I go to print, and it'll actually come off this printer here. They've got a printer on board in the cockpit. So if I collect the paper, it actually shows more than one there, which is absolutely amazing. I can go for the previous and the next pages. But basically all I wanted to do is, so if I went to the approach phase, which is in performance, and the next phase approach, the QNH, which is 1015, minimum decision altitude, in fact I'll have to get that from the chart. Okay, max decision height is 1500. Go around is 1500, 1500, because it's at sea level. Temperature there, well, let's do the wind, 180.03. /03. And there we go. So the temperature is actually this here, 17 degrees, and the dew point is 11. So for 17 in there, that is perfect. Config 3. Transition altitude is from our chart. So transition altitude is 6,000 feet. Something I've just noticed on the weather display there. So if you go to this bottom panel, that's the weather panel. So I've got weather and turbulence turned on. And I've got about 120 miles in front. I've got a bit of turbulence, so perhaps I need to warn the cabin ahead of time so they can get the passengers seated if they need to be. Make sure the carts are away so that the trolleys don't go flying around, etc. Yeah, it's just interesting to point that out. Hey everyone, welcome back. We are now on the descent phase. So air traffic control told us to descend and maintain 6,000 feet, and we're expecting ILS Yankee runway 12 approach via Amigo. So I've programmed that in there by the flight plan. Arrival, we select ILS 12 Yankee via Amigo. That's the flight plan there. So I'm looking to be at around 6,000 feet by the time I get to Amigo. So how far have we got? 10 nautical miles. Absolutely beautiful. Bit of rain cloud there. 250 knots because we are below 10,000 feet. The QNH should be, look, 1015. Let's pull that out. QNH 1015. Just at Amigo. Take the speed brakes off. Then so we'll get to a bit of turbulence in the clouds there. A bit of rain on the old cockpit. Not a lot we can do really. We'll start our descent again when we get to Mar, so we'll be descending down to 4,800 feet. I'll just get that. Seatbelts are on. There we go. Acknowledge that.
Descend and maintain 4,800 feet absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884.
Fortunately, there's not really much.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 contact Malaga approach on 121.025.
See out the window. Get in touch with Malaga approach.
Going to 121.025 absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884. Malaga approach absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 is out of 6,000 feet for 4,800 feet.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 Malaga approach continue to never as planned. QNH 29.904.
2994. Gonna give it a flap. Absolutely nothing visible out there. Bit of a rainy landing, but never mind. Approach phase is activated. That's fabulous on its own. As soon as we hit that CF12, turn the terrain instead of the weather. So we should set the ILS. And it's looking, yeah, ILS runway 12.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 descend and maintain 3,200 feet.
Oh.
Descend and maintain 3,200 feet. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884.
We got out the rain. Hey, not too bad. There we go. We have just intercepted the ILS.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, you are 14 miles northwest of Malaga. Contact Malaga Tower on 118.15 when inbound.
Finish that.
Tower on 118.15. Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884.
As soon as we finish turning, we'll deploy the landing gear. Go. Tune in the tower.
Malaga Tower, Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, 12 miles northwest inbound ILS Yankee runway 12 approach.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 Malaga Tower. Cleared ILS Yankee runway 12 approach. QNH 29er, 4 wind 272 at 12.
My joystick keeps
Cleared to land runway 12.
Sticking.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884.
there we go.
Minimum.
We're at our minimum now. Means we have to make a decision. Oh yeah, we're all good to land. Yeah, we're clean to land. Flaps are full. We'll put the auto brake to medium. It's raining a bit. We want landing speed of about 142. The trouble with this gamepad is the analog stick doesn't always return back to the center, and it overrides the autopilot. So now we're in landing mode. No. Flying over half the runway here.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 exit runway when able.
Wiper on. I don't think it does anything. Okay, no point then.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 turn next taxiway.
Need to practice my landing flares.
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884 contact ground on 121.955.
Contact ground.
121.955 for Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884. Taxiing to gate 5 tree using taxiway Alpha Bravo Charlie Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884.
Never thought I'd leave England, Manchester, England, on a sunny day and fly into Malaga where it's pissing down. Yeah, this control has some dead stick problems, to say the least. Made it this far. I want to thank you guys to sticking around this long. It's not the most exciting of content. I've been needed a holiday. Yeah, that's weird. So you get close to them, the textures are mirrored. Getting about 10 FPS. Really? Bit far. There. That's it. Ground services. Request a jetway connection.
Ground Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Absolute Echo Zulu Yankee 1884, the jetway is going to be connected.
Do that. Engine off. I want to say thanks for sticking with me, guys. Been a good one, that. Didn't really have anything major go wrong and all that sort of stuff, so yeah. Wonder what airline I'll fly to next.